All right, that's Bane winning as predicted by the studio. You said it was a setup they used last year as well.
Yes, it's very similar to the setup they relied on last year, and it did well for them last year. I don't think it's good enough for them to use continuously all the way, so we'll see what they end up switching to, if anything, later. But it is very strong. The tank on that Basilisk and the E-War resistance on it is very good.
Yeah. All right, and Basilisk shield tanking team. So for the people who are wondering what the difference between the logistics ships are, shield tanking and armor tanking, what's the difference here?
Between shields and armor?
Yeah.
In general?
In general.
Well, in the tournament, it actually is, we were talking about kind of which one's better, and it's a really interesting topic. The shield tanks obviously are going to have less slots for E-War. Mm-hmm. When you bring armor, I mean, you can do both, a lot of it, especially in tournament, because you don't need as much tackle as you might on TQ or something like that. You can definitely get away with bringing, armor tank to Caldari ships or something like that if you really need to, or armor tank bombers. But you usually forfeit some speed. Like in this case, this is the Basilisk setup. That's a logistics ship thing. But yeah, it's not clear, kind of, which one's better.
Yeah, with the armor taking teams, you're slower, but you've got more mid slots free, like Kill2 said.
Right.
One big difference is shield reps will hit right at the beginning of the cycle, so as soon as you activate a remote shield rep on a target, it gets the shield right away. While the armor actually doesn't arrive at the ship until the cycle's finished, so you can react more quickly with shields.
So like on a setup like this, where they're kind of relying on a really quick, like that Basilisk
to keep those
pumping
frigs
out
alive,
tons of shields,
Basilisk
and
has to be
running a
on the
lot of frigs. Armor would be worse because they could potentially have an easier time killing something before the reps even got there.
All right. So convincing win. Bane take that one. If we're to look for one or two more questions here before the break, let's see what we've had sent in. All right. Ravi, you've been on the tournament teams. Tobias asks, is the boundary marked in any way for the pilots?
There's a large collidable structure right in the center of the arena, and a ship that's there at the very beginning usually. So you have that on your overview and you just watch your distance from that. There isn't any visual thing that I've noticed. I've never really looked too closely for it, but if so, it wouldn't be something you could really rely on. You just keep that on your overview, watch your range from that.
The view you see of the tournament arena really represents everything that's there, except for, and they've even showed in the past, it's usually a sign in the middle of the arena, that says something silly.
So you stick that on your overview. The beacon's also there, but you want to take the beacons off your overview because there's a bunch of them in system. So the large collidable object right in the center, put it on your overview, don't get out of range of that.
Yeah, it'd be nice if there was like a sphere of lava or something that people could see, but
yeah, there's not. It's just.
But then we couldn't see into the arena.
Keep your eye on the thingy in the middle and make sure you don't end too far away.
Yeah.
I really want to see that clip of the Maverick dude that just killed 3 guys.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go say hi to Shadu and Sastro.
Hi to Shadu and Zastro.
Hi, Shadu and Zastro. I'm CCP Sunset back in the commentary booth. We've picked up some more of your questions from our forum thread, and I'm really excited to ask the guys some of these.
Yeah, you made a liar out of me. I said I was going to go eat some pizza. Instead, I'm locked in the cave being interrogated.
Oh, I'm sorry, but, I just wanted to grab a last little opportunity to come talk to you before you go off after the break.
All right.
So I thought the viewers might want to see a little bit more of you.
I don't know about that.
Always.
This is the true hero right here. All right.
Yeah, we truly made a star. So one really quick question that we had on the forum thread was, are these guys fitting faction and officer mods? So I think that's a pretty clean-cut answer.
Well, if they've read the rules of the tournament, they would know that you can only fit faction and officer mods on your flagship, and you can only ever bring one flagship in the tournament. If it dies, it's dead. No more faction and officer mods at all. And I don't think any of these teams have felt that these early matches are competitive enough to require it.
Yeah, quick answer for you there and very clear. So thank you very much for that, Zastro. We have a couple more questions that I think we might be able to squeeze in before we go to the break. There's been a lot of mentions of rush teams. Can you just clarify a little bit for the people watching if they're not too sure what makes a rush team, and discuss maybe some of the strengths and weaknesses? I think this one's coming again to you.
Rush team's real simple. It's a short range, high speed, high damage team. You want to get in close and do more damage than the team you're coming up against. And the way to be one is to stay away from them. Use ships like Hugens or whatever to stay off, slow them down, and ships like Tengus that can do their DPS at range and keep from getting on top of you.
Yeah. So good tactic, or just one of many?
It's one of many. I mean, basically, you can either... talk about two terms, anti-rush and kites. Kites typically would be those Tengu setups, so it doesn't matter what type of a team you're facing, you're going to scatter and try to keep away as far as possible. Anti-rush, we've seen a couple of teams field where they actually have those curses in there, as well as a couple of Hugens, for that little extra stopping power to newt them down as well as web them down. They typically stay together while trying to pull range and have some longer range ships to do damage with as they try to approach them, take them down.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. I think that clears some of the questions up a little bit. Hopefully we've got time for just one more, and this is a couple of people asking about hacks and why we haven't seen too many of them, particularly as opposed to T3 ships. There was a question about whether the points benefits that, whether the points outweigh the benefits that you get for those ships. So can you talk a little bit about that, Shadu?
I think that is probably the best question to ask Rivey, in fact, because he plays with math. I'm terrible at maths. I can't count for anything. I'd probably bring like 120 points or something like that.
109 is a good number.
109, that is a very good number indeed. Hacks, of course, are 13 points, while T3s are 16, I believe. For that amount of points, I mean, T3s are probably the better value per point than hacks, which have less EHP, sometimes more damage, but not typically a lot more. I mean, Proteus and let's say a Demos would be a good two ships to compare. The Demos, while it has a good damage, it just doesn't have the EHP that a Proteus does. And Proteus and other T3s, of course, get a ratio bonus for typically some more important elements in a tournament, such as the warp scrambling range on a Proteus, which we saw used earlier to stop the MWDs on a kiting setup, and of course the Loki getting a webbing bonus, which the hacks do not.
So in your opinion, the trade-off of those extra 3 points is probably worth it for the benefit gained from bringing a T3?
Absolutely, you get that extra bang for the buck.
Mr. Zastro, do you have anything
What
to
Tekla
add to
said.
this expert opinion?
Points haven't really been changed too much from last year, and I think this is one of those situations where they may need to adjust some of the point values of some of the ships. I think hacks may be a little expensive for what you get out of them.
Maybe something to consider for next time. Well, I think we can pass back to the studio. So back to CCP Soundwave.
All right, thank you very much, guys. We're about to go to a small break. We will be back at around 18:10 for the next round of matches. We have 8 matches left today. That'll conclude the first weekend. We should have a bit of a clearer picture this evening as to which teams are going to make it through to the finals on Sunday. 8 more matches this Sunday. Next weekend, you'll have matches on Saturday and Sunday. So this will be a great conclusion to a fantastic weekend. We'll see everyone after the break, won't we?
We will.
Indeed.
Thanks for coming out, guys.
Except
we'll see you guys
Astros.
soon.